She stood on my great-grandfather's dock heels, grinding into wood older than her family name, and screamed, "This is HOA property. You're trespassing." That's how it started. 3 years later, I watched her pack her designer luggage and drive away from the mansion she built on land that legally belonged to me. 32 luxury cabins, 1 island, and a single court ruling later justice had a sense of humor. My name's Ezra Thornfield. I'm 52. A retired marine engineer, widowed, and the last living member of a family that's owned Clearwater Island since 1896. My great-grandfather Silas bought it for $200 and built the dock she stood on. 4 generations of Thornfields were born, lived, and buried here. When my wife Sarah passed from cancer, I came back to rebuild what was left of me. She'd dreamed of turning the island into a retreat for veterans. Peace, therapy, gardens, a place for healing. Instead, I found Vivian Blackthorne. If you've never met someone who treats a neighborhood like her personal kingdom, let me paint you a picture. Mid-40s, platinum hair. White pantsuit, crisp enough to cut glass perfume, strong enough to apologize for the forest. Vivian was president of the Clearwater Luxury Community's HOA, 47 pages of rules, and one woman's ego. The first day she arrived, I was fixing planks on the dock, the same one her boat bumped against like a trespasser announcing itself. "Are you Ezra Thornfield?" she demanded, clipboard in hand. "Last I checked. I'm Vivian Blackthorne, president of Clearwater HOA. You're in violation of multiple community standards." I stared at her. Community. This is an island, not a cul-de-sac. Your property now falls within our expanded boundary. You'll receive a fine of $85,000 and 30 days to comply. Then she turned and strutted back to her boat, leaving the smell of diesel and Chanel swirling over the water. That night I sat by the fire, reading every word of her so-called violation notice. She wanted me to tear down the solar panels I'd built by hand, replace my composting system, repaint the cabin beige, and pave the garden Sarah planted. I looked at her letter at the initials carved by my great-grandfather into the oak by the water and said to the flames, "All right, Vivian. You want to fight? You got one." 2 weeks later, I got another letter road maintenance fees for $1,200 a month, retroactive 5 years. The road to my dock, she claimed, belonged to the HOA. I drove straight to the county courthouse, spent hours digging through records until I found the original deed. 1896, signed by Silas himself. 5 perfect words. Perpetual right-of-way granted. When I filed that with the clerk, she looked at me over her glasses and said, "That Blackthorne woman's got more complaints than a telemarketer. Good luck, son." Vivian didn't take long to strike back. By the next morning, she had no trespassing HOA property signs nailed to trees along my access road. She even hired a teenage security guard to stand there sweating in a polyester uniform. The kid stammered, "Ma'am says I gotta check all vehicles for authorization." I handed him the easement filing. "Give this to your boss. Tell her she's guarding the wrong property." By then, the marina gossip was on fire. Every local had a story. Wind chimes too loud, flowers not aesthetic. A fishing boat disrupting Lake Harmony. But Vivian's obsession with my island, that was her masterpiece. Then, one dawn, I woke to the roar of diesel engines. Barges, cranes, cement trucks, the whole industrial circus. Across the water, they were building. Dozens of identical cabins rising like a rash across my land. I stormed to the zoning office only to find Richard Matthews, Vivian's ex-husband, sitting behind the desk. "I'm here about the construction," I said. "They're building on my island." Matthews leaned back, smiling like a man who hadn't felt shame since the 80s. "Emergency development permits been approved. Commercial recreation zone now." "By whose authority?" "Mine," he said, tapping the paper. "Have a nice day." That night, I couldn't sleep. The sound of hammering echoed across the lake like mockery. For a moment, I actually wondered if maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was, clinging to the past, some stubborn relic refusing progress. Sarah would have told me to let it go. I almost did. Almost. Then I saw her sketchbook, the one with the therapy gardens, the veteran lodges, and I realized she drew peace, not profit. Vivian was paving over her dream. I wasn't walking away. I started documenting everything: photos, timestamps, GPS coordinates. And when I noticed a crane accidentally smash my solar panels, I took more pictures. She thought she was building a resort. She was really building evidence. The EPA agent I called Sandra Chen was fascinated by the eagle nesting site Vivian's crew destroyed. "Keep recording," she told me. "We'll take it from here." Weeks passed. Vivian's project grew, and so did her arrogance. She started sending nuisance complaints claiming my compost toilet violated health codes, my rainwater system was unsafe, even that my cabin disturbed the community aesthetic. I invited the county health inspector myself. He took one look and laughed. "Your system's cleaner than half the county's." Then he added quietly, "Those new cabins missing at least 14 permits." That's when the pieces started falling into place. One night, digging through old family boxes, I found an original 1896 survey map. My heart stopped. The old map showed 47 acres, not 31 like the county claimed. 16 acres were missing. The same 16 under Vivian's mansion and half her development. I spread the maps side by side, tracing the boundaries with shaking hands. She wasn't stealing part of my land, she was living on it. From that moment, my plan changed. No confrontation, no shouting. Let her keep building. Every nail she hammered was another dollar in damages, every cabin a monument to her arrogance. I built a legal squad instead of a militia. Rebecca Storm, environmental lawyer with a spine of steel. Frank Morrison, real estate expert who could quote boundary law in his sleep. And Colonel Patricia Hayes, my old Marine JAG officer. Together, we drew up a strategy that would make a general proud. Rebecca smiled when I told her we let her hang herself. Within months, we had proof of environmental violations, missing permits, fraudulent zoning approvals, and financial enrichment totaling $2.3 million. I launched a crowdfunding campaign, Save Veterans Family Island. The internet exploded. Turns out Americans love watching an HOA bully get what's coming. Vivian, though, didn't slow down. She tried to sell the cabin's cash only 40% below market. I filed a lis pendens on every property, a legal warning that froze all sales. Then her ex-husband showed up at my dock with a briefcase. $200 grand, he whispered. "You drop the lawsuits, we all walk away." I hit record on my phone. "Are you saying those permits were questionable?" His mustache twitched. "Everyone deserves compensation for inconvenience." That recording became Exhibit A. After that, Vivian went feral. She ordered her guards to block my boat access, filed fake noise complaints, even tried to condemn my cabin as unsafe. I was ready. Every incident caught on camera. Every lie documented. And the community, they'd had enough. 37 boats circled the island in support, waving flags that said, "Stand with Ezra." December 15th, 3 years to the day since she'd first stepped onto my dock, we walked into court. Reporters packed the room. Veterans filled the benches, and Vivian arrived in white silk like a queen marching to her coronation. I wore my dress blues, my grandfather's Purple Heart pinned to the chest. Her attorney droned on about legitimate business development and a disgruntled veteran seeking attention. Then Rebecca stood. "Your Honor," she said, "let's look at the original survey." The lights dimmed. On the projector appeared the 1896 hand-drawn map. Ink lines, compass bearings, Silas Thornfield's signature. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Then the modern county record flashed beside it, missing 16 acres. Finally, our 3D overlay showed every cabin, every driveway, every inch of Vivian's empire sitting on my family's land. Vivian's face went pale. Rebecca's voice cut through the silence. "Miss Blackthorne, as a licensed real estate agent, were you aware? Survey records supersede county data." Vivian stammered. "I relied on official records. Records your ex-husband manipulated." Rebecca hit play. The audio of Matthews's bribe filled the room. His voice trembled. 200,000, drop the case. Dead silence. You could hear careers ending. The judge, a grizzled man named Crawford, leaned forward. "Miss Blackthorne, your development sits entirely on Mr. Thornfield's property. The court awards him full ownership damages of $2.3 million and immediate vacant order. The gavel cracked like thunder. Vivian stood frozen, then gathered her papers and fled through the side door as reporters swarmed. I didn't move. I just breathed. For the first time in years, the air over the lake felt clean. You want to know the moral? It's simple. When someone tries to steal what's yours, let them keep digging, because the deeper their greed goes, the harder it is to climb out when truth finally hits.